This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Yes, someone's dead. She got shot.
She got shot in the head?
Yes, with bullets.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Narrator, November 18th, 2024. Picture a regular morning in Springfield Township, Ohio. A calm start to the day, maybe the hint of fall in the air. A neighborhood where things feel steady, life moving along without any trouble. And then, the sound of a gunshot. That quiet? Broken in an instant. A phone rings somewhere, it's a 911 call, fear takes over. A voice, barely holding it together, tries to explain the horror. The words come out shaky. Someone's dead. She got shot. Shot in the head. At 2179 Lincoln Avenue, the unthinkable has happened. Lacresia Black, just 33 years old, is dead, outside her own home. The woman she married, Teria, is the one who killed her. How does a normal morning end like this? What kind of darkness could turn love into something so violent? The police arrive. Neighbors watch, stunned. But one question hangs in the air, heavier than any other. Why? And this is only where the story begins. The flashing lights of the police cars paint the scene in stark reds and blues, a harsh contrast to the quiet morning that preceded them. As the officers begin their grim work, it's important to remember who Lacresia Black was, the woman whose life was so violently taken. Born on August 31, 1991 in Cincinnati, Ohio, Lacresia wasn't just a name or a news headline, she was a person, woven into the lives of those around her. While details of her early years remain private, one thing is clear: she was cherished. People who knew her speak of a special warmth, an ability to forge connections. It wasn't just about casual acquaintances. Lacresia had a way of building strong bonds with those who crossed her path. Friends, colleagues, family. She left a mark. Whether it was through laughter, a helping hand, or simply being there, she made a difference. Kindness and strength defined her. At 33, Lacresia stood at a threshold. Life stretched before her, full of possibilities. She embraced opportunities, looked forward to what was coming, and held on to her dreams. She wasn't afraid of hard work. In 2017, she held a job at an airport. Those who worked alongside her remember her welcoming nature. She had a way of making people feel at ease. This was Lacresia, not a victim, but a woman with a story, a life that mattered. A life now cut short, leaving behind unanswered questions and a community searching for understanding. The year 2019 marked a turning point in Lacresia's life. The year she met Teria Denise Brown. Teria, at 42, was older, seemingly more established. To Lacresia, she likely appeared to be a figure of stability, someone who had navigated life's complexities and possessed a maturity that promised a secure future. Teria wasn't alone. She had 3 children from a previous relationship: Kavan, Mumu, and Elijah, aged 23, 21, and 8 respectively. Teria presented herself as a devoted mother, someone for whom family was paramount. Her social media presence often reflected this image, filled with posts expressing her love and dedication to her children. She wanted others to see her as a loving and caring parent. For Lacresia, Teria's role as a single mother wasn't a deterrent. It was a sign of something positive. She interpreted Teria's experience as evidence of her dependability and nurturing nature. This perception fueled Lacresia's growing affection, leading her to fall in love. I know this was a heavy one, but these stories need to be told. If you're feeling it, give this video a thumbs up and share it to spread awareness. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join our true crime community. For those of you who've been here a while, you know I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. As their relationship deepened, Lacresia and Teria spent more and more time together, their lives intertwining. Family gatherings became a shared experience, a space where Lacresia seamlessly integrated into Teria's world. She embraced Teria's children, Kevin, Mumu, and Elijah, forming connections that seemed to solidify their family unit. Their happiness wasn't confined to private moments, it was often displayed on social media, particularly Facebook. Posts captured moments of joy, parties, vacations, celebrations. They appeared inseparable, their bond a picture of a promising love story. This narrative of love and togetherness culminated on December 3, 2023. After nearly 4 years as a couple, Lacresia and Teria officially married. The ceremony was a celebration, a public declaration of their commitment. The symbolism of their union went further. They got matching tattoos. The words, "Till death do us part," were inked onto their skin, a phrase intended to signify a lifelong promise, a bond unbreakable. What was meant to be a beautiful testament to their love, however, would become a chilling foreshadowing of the tragedy to come. The images shared on social media, the wedding photos, the matching tattoos, they projected an image of perfect happiness, but behind this carefully constructed facade, a different reality was unfolding. Their relationship, meant to be a source of comfort and joy, was instead marked by constant conflict. Arguments became frequent, casting a dark shadow over their lives together. The bond that once seemed unbreakable was now characterized by instability. Their story became a cycle of breakups and reconciliations, a turbulent pattern of emotional highs and lows. Moments of deep affection would be followed by intense disputes, creating a roller coaster of emotions. Despite the turmoil, they clung to the hope that things would eventually improve, that they could find their way back to the happiness they once shared, or believed they shared. However, as the months passed, the relationship continued its downward spiral, heading towards a tragic conclusion. The difficulties they faced proved insurmountable, the conflicts irreconcilable. The love story that began with such promise was about to end in devastation. After 5 years of navigating the turbulent waters of their relationship, Lacresia reached a breaking point. She made the difficult decision to end her marriage with Teria. This decision, however, was not met with acceptance. Teria refused to let go, unwilling to accept the change. For Teria, losing Lacresia meant losing control, and that was something she wouldn't allow. In the face of this rejection and Teria's inability to accept the separation, the situation escalated. Teria made a tragic decision, a choice that would have devastating consequences for both their families. November 18, 2023, a seemingly ordinary morning unfolds in Springfield Township, Ohio. The air is still, a sense of calm hangs in the balance. But that calm is about to be shattered, irrevocably. Teria Brown arrives at Lacresia's residence. She's consumed by a storm of rage, her purpose clear, her resolve hardened. What words, if any, passed between the two women in those final moments, we don't know. Those details remain locked in the past. But then, the sound of gunshots. The silence of the morning is ripped apart. The first shots are fired through the door itself, a violent warning, a dark omen of what's to come. Lacresia, unaware of the horror about to engulf her, opens that door. Teria fires again. This time, the bullets find their mark. Lacresia is struck in the head. She falls there, on her own porch, betrayed, fatally wounded by the woman she once loved. A life, a vibrant life, full of love and strength, extinguished in an instant. All that's left is devastation. Neighbors, startled by the noise, rush to their windows. They witness the horrifying scene. Lacresia motionless outside her home, the victim of multiple gunshot wounds. A 911 call is made, a desperate plea for help. A man who was with Lacresia that morning makes that call, his voice trembling, urgent. Someone's dead. She got shot in the head. Yes, with bullets. The caller tries to explain what happened, the gunshots through the door, the final fatal shot when Lacresia opened it. He's worried too. He mentions the children, their safety a growing concern. Is there children there? Yes, there's 2. Where's the other one? There should have been 3. They were just out there. So one is at school, the other one is upstairs. First responders arrive, sirens screaming, a harsh intrusion on the morning. They find Lacresia. It's too late, she's gone, pronounced dead at the scene. News spreads, shockwaves ripple through the community. A reporter gives an update describing the scene, the police presence, the ongoing investigation. We're following this out of Springfield Township after we got reports of a woman who had been found after being shot, or I should say she was found, with a gunshot wound. Well, we just learned from police here minutes ago that this, unfortunately, is a fatal event. You can see where officers are here canvassing the area. One woman is dead after a gun wound to the head. The police haven't named a suspect yet, but whispers are already circulating. A familiar car seen leaving the scene, neighbors frozen trying to process the horror. Radio chatter between dispatchers and police suggests a connection between the suspect and the victim. They knew each other. A neighbor who's lived in the complex for years speaks of her shock. The neighborhood, she says, is peaceful, the people quiet, respectful. All my neighbors, we just peaceful, everybody, nobody argues or anything, so it's just shocking. 'Cause nothing happened over here, nothing, so it's crazy. Investigators begin their work, trying to piece together the fragments of the morning. One name keeps coming up, Teria Brown. She becomes the focus of a statewide manhunt. Teria, meanwhile, has fled. She's escaped in a dark-colored 2014 Chevrolet Cruze. That car, once a familiar sight in Lacresia's driveway, is now a key piece of evidence in a murder investigation. But this story, this tragedy, isn't over. Another devastating event is about to unfold. The scene at Lacresia's residence was one of controlled chaos. Police officers swarmed the area, their presence a stark contrast to the everyday quiet of the neighborhood. Lacresia was found, unresponsive, her life extinguished. Paramedics arrived, but there was nothing they could do. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The neighborhood, moments before a picture of suburban tranquility, was now a crime scene. Yellow caution tape snaked around the perimeter, a visual barrier separating the ordinary from the horrific. Officers moved with purpose, meticulously canvassing the area, their focus sharp as they began their investigation. Neighbors, drawn from their homes by the sounds of sirens and the unfolding drama, stood in stunned silence. The shock was palpable. This was a place where nothing happens, as one neighbor described it. Violence was a stranger here, and its sudden arrival shattered the sense of peace and security they had taken for granted. As investigators began to piece together the puzzle of what had happened, a crucial detail emerged. Teria Brown had fled. She had escaped in a dark-colored 2014 Chevrolet Cruze. The vehicle, once a familiar sight in Lacresia's driveway, was now a key piece of evidence in a homicide investigation. Law enforcement launched a statewide manhunt. The urgency was clear. Teria was on the run, unpredictable, and armed. If she had already taken one life, there was no telling what she might do next. The pursuit of Teria Brown took a dramatic turn just 2 hours after the horrific events in Springfield Township. Indiana State Police spotted her on Interstate 65 in Clinton County, Indiana. The chase was on. When officers attempted to pull her over, Teria refused to stop. What followed was a high-speed pursuit, the prime suspect desperately trying to evade capture. The chase stretched on for over an hour, a tense and dangerous dance between law enforcement and a woman on the run. Finally, Teria brought the vehicle to a stop at the ammo gas station near State Route 28. But this was not a surrender. It was the prelude to a deadly conclusion. Officers surrounded the gas station, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty. They moved cautiously, hoping for a peaceful resolution, for Teria to surrender. But there was no movement from inside the dark-colored Chevrolet Cruze that had carried her across state lines. Then a gunshot rang out from inside the car. The situation instantly escalated. Officers, unsure of Teria's intentions, responded. Multiple shots were fired. The exact number remains uncertain, but the scene was one of intense chaos. Incredibly, no officers were injured during the exchange. When the gunfire ceased, a heavy silence fell. Officers approached the vehicle, their weapons drawn to assess the situation. What they found confirmed their worst fears. Teria Brown was dead. Her motionless body lay in the driver's seat. Beside her was the gun, that had sealed the fate of 2 people. Before paramedics could even arrive, the officers knew. Teria's story, like Lacresia's, had reached its tragic end. News of the events in Indiana spread quickly, adding another layer of shock to the tragedy that had begun in Springfield Township. Reports confirmed the details: the police chase, the standoff at the gas station, the gunfire. An early morning shooting in Springfield Township, leaving a person dead. Now, we've been following this case closely and just got an update from officers. Springfield Township Police say just after 7 a.m. they got a call for a person at an apartment complex along Lincoln Avenue. Officers found 33-year-old Lacresia Black lying outside the front door of her apartment. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say they believe the person who was behind the trigger to be 42-year-old Teria Brown, who they say drove off to Clinton County, Indiana, where she allegedly got into a police chase with Indiana State Police. At the end of that chase, police say a gunshot was fired from inside Brown's vehicle, then troopers would open fire. Teria Brown was killed in that gunfire. Questions lingered. Had Teria fired at the officers, or had she taken her own life? The answer to that question remained unclear, but the outcome was undeniable. Teria Brown was dead. Just like Lacresia, who lay dead 150 miles away. In a matter of hours, 2 lives were lost, one to a senseless act of violence, the other to a desperate attempt to escape its consequences. The community was left reeling, struggling to process the events that had unfolded with such speed and brutality. The investigations into the deaths of Lacresia Black and Teria Brown didn't end with the immediate aftermath. Law enforcement continued to piece together the events, their focus shifting to the relationship between the 2 women. Detectives worked to uncover the motive behind the tragedy. They gathered evidence, conducted interviews with witnesses, and questioned friends and family. Past incidents between Lacresia and Teria were carefully examined, each piece of information a potential clue. As the investigation progressed, a clearer picture began to emerge, revealing the complexities and darkness that had been hidden beneath the surface. The impact of the violence extended beyond the immediate victims. A neighbor, Linda Sales, described the trauma of finding a bullet hole in her window. It was a stark reminder of how the violence had rippled through the community, shattering the sense of safety and leaving lasting scars. They knocked on the door and told me that it was a bullet hole in my window. A traumatizing Monday morning. It's so blessed and lucky that I was sleeping, that I was in the back. I'm so thankful that my grandkids weren't here, because that's the area where they play, eat, and spend their time. The 911 call, placed by the man who was with Lacresia, provided further insight into the initial moments of confusion and fear. The caller, who described himself as a friend and someone Lacresia cared for, was initially unsure of who had shot her. 911, do you have an emergency? Yes, someone's dead. A friend, she's like a caretaker to me at the time. The man who called wasn't sure who shot her. Eventually, through court records, it was revealed that Lacresia Black and Teria Brown were married. A friend of Lacresia described their relationship to a news outlet as on again, off again, a relationship marked by frequent arguments. We found out through Hamilton County court records Lacresia Black and the suspect 42-year-old Teria Brown were married. One friend of Black described their relationship to WCPO 9 News as on again, off again, and the two would fight often. The turbulence of their relationship, the struggles they faced behind closed doors, and the emotional weight both women carried had all been building up to the tragic events of that day. In the aftermath of the violence, grief permeated Springfield Township. Friends and family of both Lacresia and Teria struggled to make sense of what had happened, grappling with the shock and devastation. The community, once peaceful and quiet, was now forced to confront the harsh reality of the tragedy that had unfolded in a matter of hours. The pain and sorrow weren't confined to Lacresia's loved ones. Teria's daughter Mumu took to social media to express her grief. While acknowledging the events, she also defended her mother, highlighting the complexity of the situation and the conflicting emotions involved. I'm trying so hard not to break down and give in to the internet when it comes to defending my mama. So many outsiders are twisting the story to fit their own selfish narrative, but nobody knows the real truth. I'm still waiting for her to call me, y'all. If you're against me or speaking negatively, remove me right now. In the days that followed, efforts were made to honor the memories of both women. On November 20, 2024, balloon releases were held by the two families, a symbolic gesture of remembrance. Funeral services for Lacresia Black and Teria Brown were held on November 30, 2024. Each service was attended by grieving relatives and friends, all trying to come to terms with the heartbreaking reality of what had transpired. Lacresia and Teria's story serves as a chilling reminder of the potential dangers lurking within toxic relationships. It underscores the importance of recognizing the signs of abuse and seeking help when needed. Love should never feel like a trap, and leaving a relationship should never come at the cost of one's life. Time and time again, cases like this emerge, serving as stark reminders of the potential for danger in unhealthy relationships. Lacresia's story is more than just a tragedy. It's a warning that should be heeded, a reminder that no one is immune to the insidious nature of domestic violence.